Hi everyone, I'm going to do my persuasive speech on child abuse and preventing it. There's a lot of resources out there that families don't receive, such as food, clothing help. There's a lot of things we can do in our community or give resources to prevent it. The long-term effects can be very damaging to children. They can have a lot of psychological issues, emotional issues, and there's more than one kind of abuse. There's emotional abuse, physical abuse. There's multiples that children can endure. There's also the goal to be more effective on how we help and not just assume that a child is being abused because maybe they don't have the best clothing or they look like they're skinny, because it could be that the family just doesn't have the resources they need. And so then we need to step in and help them any way that we can. And believe a child if they say that something's going on, be there for them, listen to them, because you could help save their life in certain circumstances. And sometimes when they have this happen, they can't control their impulses. They may struggle in school, communicating, having friends. It can go on and on. There's more children that go through abuse than we realize, and it can be a burden they carry their whole lives. I know personally I went through it from the time I was about 5 until I was 16 through a family member, and it's had a huge impact on my life. And it's made me, I think, a stronger person to be able to move past it. So what I'm trying to say is that we need to have more support systems and more things in place to help children that are going through this, because it can be prevented. And if it does happen, we need to have more people out there that can assist those children, because I know what it's like to not have people believe you, and that's really hard. And it seems to carry on to all stages of life. It doesn't go just through their childhood. It continues on as they grow up, the way that they present themselves to others, the way they communicate. It's very, very effective to them, and it's not in a good way. But I've been trying to move on from it and heal from it, and that's why I'm doing a presentation on this, is because I think it will help to get the word out that we need to be more aware and not shut our eyes to it or turn the other way and hope someone else will say something or do something. Because if we stand up and try to make a difference, we can do that together. We just have to work towards it and not act like we don't see something happening. It needs to be where everyone gets together and stands up to help the children. And I don't want to see any more children carrying that kind of a burden, because like I said, I know what it's like, and it's not easy for these kids. It's very hard, it's very difficult, and it affects them for their whole entire lives. There's so many things that could happen. There's children that are taking their lives because of it, because they don't know how to handle it and they don't know what to do, or maybe they're not believed, or they feel alone. And that's something that we need to work on, is having a family system in place, having a support system, having counseling available to these kids, or just having the resources to give food to them when they need it, or extra clothing, and not judge them and look down on them for it, because in a lot of cases they don't have control over that. It's something that they're in that situation, they can't help it. And I wish that when I was going through the situation that my mom listened to me and did something about it, but I didn't have that. I had to just deal with it myself and try to move on from it. And since becoming a mom, I think I'm more protective of my kiddos because of it. But I don't see that as a bad thing. I think it's a good thing, and that's why I'm trying to become an advocate for children with special needs like my son, because they need that. They need that outlet to be able to communicate, to be able to say, this is what happened, I need to be heard, but never pass judgment. If you think a child's being abused, you should always do the research first and then go from there, because it might not be abuse. It could be they're just don't have the funds, or maybe they just need extra help. But don't just assume that someone else is going to take care of it. If you really believe a child is in danger, you need to step up and do something about it. And you need to keep the focus and remember that we do have the strength to make a difference. It's not something that is just going to fix itself. We need to focus on a solution and be together on this and stand together on it. We need to support the families and make sure they have us believing them and that they know that we care. And there's a lot of organizations and stuff that we can put out for families that they can use. There's multiple of these kinds of resources that they could use to have extra help, that they maybe just need to feel loved, or like they're cared about, or they matter. But having a support system to just be there for them could be life-changing. There's no way other to explain it. It's just a matter of sitting down and listening and being supportive, because no child deserves to go through that. I remember what it was like for me, going through it for so many years and feeling like I was alone and that no one would ever be there. And if we have a family circle to support them and make them realize that that's not true, that we can make a difference, then we can make a difference. And it can be the smallest thing you might not even realize, just talking to these kids or talking to a family or being supportive or asking if they need help. It could be something that simple that could change their lives forever. And you might not even know that you're changing their lives, but it can. And I remember when I finally got into my counseling and someone actually listened to me at school, that's how it stopped, because somebody stepped in and they decided no more, it's not going to happen anymore, because I didn't deserve that. No kid does. It's wrong, and it's no child should ever experience that. And there's so many forms, like I said. There's physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse. It goes on and on. There's neglect, but you always need to do your research first. And there's so much that we can do to help. I just want to make it clear that we need to step up and make this where it doesn't happen anymore, because it doesn't need to. If you need help, don't be afraid to ask for help. There's so many support groups and so many support things you can ask for. Don't be ashamed of it. Ask for help. And if it is happening to someone maybe just be there for them and provide the support and make them feel safe, like they can ask for help. And if they need help, maybe take them in the direction to get the help they need, to someone they trust. Because if you don't trust the person, you're not going to want to talk to them. You're not going to want to ask for help. You're going to be afraid to ask for help. That's how it was with me. Because I figured if my mom didn't believe me, then who would? Because my mom was the first person I thought of when it happened. And I think that's why it happened for so long, is because my mom didn't believe me and she didn't care. So if you think that this is happening, we all need to stand up and say something, because we can prevent it from happening to kids. It's just a matter of everybody standing up and being supportive and wanting to make a change, wanting to make a difference. And if we all just turn our heads, it's never going to end. It will never stop. Nothing will ever change. That's why I'm so passionate about this, is because, like I said, again, I know what it's like. From when I was 5 until I was 16, I went through this with my brother, and it was just pure, I didn't even know what to do anymore. I didn't want to be at home. I wanted to be at school. No one believed me until I finally got a teacher to listen to me, and she made it stop. And I'm so thankful that she did, because it has so many effects on my life, and it still does to this day. I still have nightmares, flashbacks, but you know what? I'm going to move past it. I'm not going to let it control me, because that's letting him win, and I will never do that. I will never allow him to win. You have to move past it and be strong. And remember, you can make a difference to kids in their lives. So stand up and be there for the kids that need you. Thank you.